everyone, welcome back to Education Experts. I am Bharti Sharma, your spoken English educator. So I welcome you all in this next part of tenses series, which is based on present perfect continuous tense. Today in this video, we are going to discuss present perfect continuous tense in detail. So let's get started. Alright, so present perfect continuous tense. Let's understand its definition first. Its definition says present perfect continuous tense, also known as present perfect progressive tense. That I have told you in my present continuous tense video, that whenever continuous words appears in front of you, you can also say it as progressive tense. Clear? Shows that something started in the past and still is continuing at the present time, right? Present perfect continuous is formed using the construction as have been plus present participle root plus ing. So basically the last line of this definition refers to the structure of the present perfect continuous. Let's first understand the definition of present perfect continuous, which means whenever the action is started in the past and has not finished yet, right? It is still continuing, right? For example, I have started teaching you tenses in the past and I'm still continuing it, right? I have not done it, right? So this is an example of present perfect continuous tense. Let's hear it out, some examples. Before that, you have to keep it in mind whenever we are talking about any perfect continuous tense, you have to keep it in mind that we have to use for and since with each and every type of sentences. Where to use since and where to use for, that we'll be discussing in the later part of the video. Let's first understand some examples of it. So here are the examples. First up we have is, I have been owning my Mazda since 2007. What is Mazda? Mazda is a brand which refers to cars, right? And owning means when you are the what do you call that in Hindi? Malik, right? When you are the Malik of that particular thing, whatever the thing is, right? So I have been owning the Mazda since 2007. Since 2007. And why have I used since? Why have not I used over here for? I'll tell you in the later part of the video. Clear? Next up we have is, recently I have been misplacing my wallet and key. Next up, I haven't been feeling well lately. Mia has been competing in the flute competitions recently. I have been reading War and Peace for a month now. So this is how you can use it. And let's get started by using where to use present perfect continuous tense. Let's start it. How do we use the present perfect continuous tense? Let's understand it. There is usually a connection between the present or now. So basically, what does this mean? There is a slight connection with the present or now. We use the present perfect continuous tense to talk about at two times. First up, past action recently stopped or past action still continue. At the both time, we can use past perfect continuous tense. For example, I've started something in the past and I've just means recently completed it. At that time also you can use this, or if that action has not even completed, it's still continuing, at that time also you can use it. First up we have is present perfect continuous for past action just stopped. We use the present perfect continuous tense to talk about action that started in the past and stopped recently. There is usually a result now. So whatever the action is that has started in the past and stopped just recently is usually result now. Means whatever the action has just stopped, there is still, you can feel the result of it. How? Let's see some examples of it. For example, if I'm saying I'm tired, I am tired. Why am I tired? Because I have been running. So I'm tired. I'm feeling it right now, right? And I have completed the running part, but I can see the result of it by my face, by my body. Why? Because I'm looking like that I'm tired. And there's a reason behind it. Why am I tired? So you can definitely connect with this first use of it, which says about past action just stopped, right? So I'm tired. Why? Because I've been running. Next up we have is, why is the grass wet? Why is the grass wet? Because it has been raining. It has been raining. So you can see the result. that the grass is wet. And what is the reason behind it? Because it has been raining. Maybe the rain has just stopped, that's why, right? Next up we have is you don't understand because you haven't been listening. That's what I always say, that you should always first listen, and then you can definitely understand it. If you are not going to listen to me, whatever I'm teaching you, whatever I'm trying to get you understand, you will never going to take it. Why? Because you're not listening it properly, you're not maybe paying attention, or maybe you are doing this thing with some other thing also. So try to focus, try to pay attention as much as you can, so that you can definitely understand. So you don't understand why, there's a reason, because you haven't been. So this is the first thing, first rule which says about past action just stopped. Now let's see some examples of second one which says past action still continuing. Alright, next up we have is present perfect continuous for past action continuing now. The action has been started in the past and is still continuing. Let's see some examples. How long have you been learning English? What does this mean? That you are still learning English. You have started in the past, started learning English in the past, and you're still in the process. You're still continuing it. Clear? Next up, we have not been smoking. We have not been smoking, and we are not smoking now. That means maybe we were smoking in the past and we have maybe stopped recently, but right now we are not. So that's how you can use it. Next up we have is for and since with the present perfect continuous tense. How you can use for and since with present perfect continuous tense? Let's understand it. We often use for and since with perfect tenses. We use for to talk about a period of time. We use for to talk about a period of time. Like for example, if I'm telling you 3 hours, 2 months, 1 decade. If I'm telling you 3 months, then you must be thinking that which 3 months am I talking about, right? Or if I'm telling you about 3 hours, which 3 hours am I telling about? You must be thinking about that. Is it 9 to 12? Is it 9 to 12 in the morning or in the evening? You must be thinking about it, right? But what does it mean? It means that I'm not telling you the exact time period, right? I'm telling you just a period of time. 3 hours, it can be any 3 hours. 3 months, it can be any 3 months. 1 decade, right? So when I am not telling you the exact time period, that means we have to use for with that. And we use since to talk about a point in the past time. When we're talking about the exact time period, like 9 o'clock, 1st January, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is. Yeah. But if I'm telling you the exact time period, at that time we have to use what? Clear? I have been studying for 3 hours. Which 3 hours? It can be any 3 hours, but I'm telling you I have been studying for 3 hours. But if I would have said I have been studying since 9 o'clock, that means I'm telling you the exact time period. Clear? Next up we have is I have been watching TV since 7 p.m. I have been watching TV since 7 p.m. Clear? Next up, because we are telling you exact time period 7 p.m. That's why we have used. Tara hasn't been feeling well for 2 weeks. 2 weeks means any 2 weeks. It can be the last 2 weeks. It can be the previous 2 weeks. It can be the starting 2 weeks of this month. It can be anyone, right? Next up we have is Tara hasn't been visiting us since March. Now I'm telling you the exact month. That since March she has not visited us yet. Clear? He has been playing football for a long time. So I hope with this you have cleared with where to use for and since. If you have not cleared it, let's see it with a table. Alright, now let's see the table that I'm talking about for and since. We use for with the period of time as I've told you, and we use since with the point in time in past time. For example, if I'm telling you 30 minutes, 30 minutes can be any 30 minutes. 4 days, 3 months, 2 years, 3 centuries, ages, ever. That means all of these things does not represent the exact time period. That's why we can use for with it. Next up, 10 a.m. Friday, March 2010, 1700, I left school, the beginning of time. With this time phrases, we can use. Clear? I hope now this is clear for you. let's get started and let's understand contractions with present perfect continuous tense. When we use the present perfect continuous tense in speaking, often contract the subject and the first auxiliary verb. We also sometimes do this in informal writing. I have told you this thing many times that we use contractions at the time of speaking or at the time of informal writing. Only with those two situations you can use contractions. Otherwise, especially listen to me carefully, especially if you are using formal writing, you cannot use contractions at that time because it will definitely make a bad impact on the other person. Yeah. So what is the contractions forms and how do we pronounce it? Let's understand it. First up we have is, if I'm saying you, I have been to the park earlier, whatever thing. I have been. How you can pronounce this? You can say it. I've been. I've been. I've been. Very good. I'll speak once and the rest of the two times you have to practice it with me. Clear? Next up. You have been becomes you've been. You've been. You've been. Very good. Next up. He has been, she has been, it has been, John has been, and the car has been. All of these things would be exactly same, but sometimes it pronounce it as like she is been. It's not is, it's has, right? He has been becomes his, his, his been. It's not he's been, it means it has, he has been. She's been becomes she has been. He's been. It's been, it's been. John's been, John's been, car's been, the car has been, car's been, the car has been. We have been becomes we've been, we've, good. They have been becomes they've been, they have been, they have been. I hope contraction is definitely clear for you, and I'm also hoping you will pronounce it, you practice it, and you will definitely going to use this at the time of speaking. Let's get to understand the examples. I've been reading, that means I've been reading. Shahrukh's been helping us recently. Shahrukh has been, that means Shahrukh has been helping us. I hope this is clear for you. Let's move on. Now understand using present perfect continuous tense to describe. We use present perfect continuous tense to describe duration of the action from the past until. So basically, whatever the action that has started in the past and still continuing in the present, and what is the duration, means what is the time period between the action that has started in the past and still continuing in the present. What is the time period? You need to get it right. Sentence, for example, he has been playing football at the club for 2 years. That means 2 years ago he has started playing it and he's still continuing, and till the time, from that time to this time, it's been 2 years. 2 years. Clear? Next up, it means that he has started playing football for the club 2 years before and is still playing. Clear? Clear. Events occurring recently or lately. At that time also we use some sentence. I have been falling ill more often lately. That means these days I'm getting ill, I'm not getting good things, I'm not getting good vibes, I'm not mentally clear, I'm mentally disturbed these days. If you're speaking these things like this way, you can use present perfect continuous well. I have been falling ill more often. Is that nowadays you are falling ill? Clear? Next up we have is some important points. What are the some important points? Let's understand it. So there are some important points. There are two important points that you have to keep in mind. First, we will understand it one by one. In any continuous tenses, we cannot use non-continuous verbs. Similarly, we cannot use mixed verbs that are a certain not continuous meaning. Thus, while using such verbs, you need to use the present perfect tense. What does this mean? Don't get confused. Let's understand it first with some examples. Mike has had his Mercedes car for 3 years. See, if I'm telling you there is, if any, there is non-continuous verbs, then you cannot use present perfect continuous. Also, if you are using non-continuous verb, at that time you have to use present perfect tense. This is the simpler way that I can tell you. If the sentence carries non-continuous verbs, at that time you cannot use present perfect continuous. That time you have to use present perfect tense. Clear? This is the only thing that I'm trying to understand. For example, Mike has had his Mercedes car for 3 years. That means in this sentence we are not using present perfect continuous tense. Sharon needs help. Again, Sharon needs help. We are not using over here present perfect continuous. Sam seems confused. I hope this is clear. Next up we have is usually adverbs like always, never, till, ever, just, only, etc. are used. We can use adverbs containing all of these words in present perfect continuous. How? Have you only been reading here for 2 hours? Only shows here adverb. Next up, you have only been working here for 1 hour. This is how you can understand, and these are the two important points that you have to keep in your mind. Let's move forward and understand sentence structure. All right, now let's understand sentence structure. First up we have is affirmative sentences. So what is the sentence structure? Let's understand it one by one. See, what is the topic that we are discussing? Present perfect continuous. Very good. So your structure would be according to your topic, and we will make it. How? Let's understand. Subject, use subject in every type of sentence. Done? Okay, done. Now perfect. At the time of perfect tense, we use what? Has, have, third form of the main verb. This is the thing that we use, and this is the thing that we are using here also. Subject, has, have, been. Been is basically the third form of the be, been. Clear? So subject, has, have, been. Perfect tense is clear. Now, at the time of continuous, always use first form of the main verb plus ing. Correct? Again, we are using same thing. Subject, has, have, been, V1, ing. This is the exact thing that you need to understand. Perfect, has, have, been, continuous, V1, ing. Clear? Now, moving on. Object plus since and for, that I've told you, that is necessary to make your sentence. It is not that necessary. If the sentence needs it, or if the sentence is asking for it, then you have to. Clear? All right. Now, where to use has? Obviously, now you are expert in this. He, she, it, name. That means singular subject. Then we have to use has. And if we are talking about plural subject, that means I, we, you, they. Then we have to use have with it. Clear? Let's move forward and let's understand one by one every example. You have been working on this project for a week. You, subject, plural, that's why we have used have. Been, work plus ing, continuous, right? You have been working on this project, object. For, since or for a week, right? We have been working on this project for a week, simple. Next up, I have been working as a doctor for 2 years. I, again plural, that's why we have used have. Perfect. According to the perfect rule, have been. I have been. Again, now continuous. V1, work plus ing. Working as a doctor, object, since or for 2 years. I hope now this is also clear for you. Let's see some another example. It has been raining for a week now. It has been raining. He has been running since morning. He has been washing his clothes for 2 hours. The girls have been eating lunch since 30 minutes. Clear? So this is how you're going to use present perfect continuous sentence structure for affirmative. In the last sentence, we know the exact time, that means 30 minutes, right? So that's why we have used since with it. I hope first up we have completed and clearly understood the sentence structure. Now let's move forward and understand negative sentence. All right, now let's understand negative sentence structure, which says subject has, have, not, been, V1 ing object since or. Otherwise, rest of the sentence is same. You just have to put not after the auxiliary verb. Right? So these are the examples. He has not been reading since morning. She has not been working in this company for 2 weeks. It has not been raining for a long time. They have not been staying here since morning. He has not been washing his clothes for 2 hours. Rahul has not been teaching me for 2 years. Clear? So these are the examples of negative sentence structure. If you can take any of the example, you can definitely connect it to the example structure. For example, I'm taking this, they have not been staying. They over here is a subject and that comes in a plural form. So they have plus not plus been plus staying here since morning. This is how you can create negative sentence structure. I hope this is clear for you. Let's move forward and understand interrogative. Interrogative sentence structure. In this time, we have to use auxiliary verb before the subject, and rest of the sentence structure would be exactly same. Has, have plus subject plus been, V1, ing, object, since for, and question mark. Let's see some examples of it. Has he been doing his work for 3 hours? Has he been doing work for 3 hours, right? Have they been helping me for many years? Have they been helping me for many years? Have I been reading my book since morning? Has it been raining for 2 hours? Has Radha been doing her homework since 10 o'clock? Has the washerman been washing the clothes since morning? Washerman means we call it in Hindi as dhobi. Have the girls been dancing on the stage for 1 hour? Have we been going to their home for years? Have you been living in Delhi for 2 years? Right? Keeping in mind the subject, if the subject is singular, you have to use has, and if the subject is plural, you have to use have. Otherwise, you can definitely create your own sentences. Let's move forward and understand interrogative negative sentence. Interrogative negative sentence structure. Again, the structure would be exactly same. Just put not after the subject. Let's directly jump into examples. Has, he. Because he is the subject, that's why we have used has. Has he not been come V1 ing coming to school object for 1? Has he not been coming to school for 1 week? Question mark. Has he not been coming to our home for 1 month? Have they not been helping me for many years? Has Rahul not been coming to office since Monday? Has Radha not been doing her homework since 10 o'clock? Has it not been raining for 2 hours? Have these children is a plural form, right? Child is a singular one. Have these children not been playing on the road for 10 minutes? Have I not been reading my book since morning? Has she not been waiting for you for 2 hours? Just keep the structure in your mind and you can create your whole sentences. I hope this is clear for you. Let's directly jump into the double interrogative. Now, if we talk about WH family sentence structures, we have to keep it in mind about the sentence structure. WH plus has, have plus subject, been, V1, ing, object, since, for, and question mark. Right? And if we're talking about negative double interrogative, that means you have to add not after the be. Clear? Let's directly see the examples. Why has she not been eating food for 2 days? So this is an example of double interrogative negative. What have you been doing these days? This is example of interrogative. What have they been doing since Monday? What have they been doing since Monday? Why has he not been coming to school for 1 week? Again, this is example of negative one. Where have you been hiding for 2 hours? Where have you been hiding for 2 hours? Why has you not been going to the doctor for 2 days? Why has the gardener not been watering the plants since morning? Clear? Keeping just again and again, I'm repeating myself. Just keep the structures, practice it out. Try as much as sentences you can. Just keeping it in mind the sentence structures, and you will done with all the structures and the meanings and how to create it. You will definitely going to. So thank you so much for watching this video till the end. I'm going to meet you in next part of tenses series. Thank you so much again. Stay connected and be happy.